Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Gone Phishing. I'm your host, Connor, CEO at Phin, and I am joined once again by the amazing Nick Wolf, Director of Partner Acquisition at Cork. Nick, how are you?
Doing great. Long time no see, Connor.
Long time no see. For those of you who don't know, we record a lot of these back to back, so. If you haven't listened to the previous episodes, we talked a ton with Nick on what are cyber warranties, what is cyber insurance, where do they differ, where are they the same. We also talked a whole bunch about some issues with cyber insurance and policies, things that you may or may not know. Moral of the story is, highly recommend you find a cyber insurance expert if you ever have questions about it, because it is a black hole of information and scariness that I would not want to talk on. So God bless the folks that do. But Nick, you've been in the MSP industry, you've said, for 10 years?
Yeah, going on like 12, 13. Yeah.
12, 13. Wow. That is awesome. And you started with, it was Datto.
Yeah, I was one of Datto's first employees. I think I was like employee number 21 there back during its early days.
Oh, that's crazy. And then how big was Datto with the recent acquisition, like numbers wise?
Yeah, when Kaseya bought them, it was over $6 billion in valuation and over 2,000 employees. So it was definitely quite the ride when I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, you were part of the first 1%.
Yep.
You were one of the 1%ers.
Every 2 months, the company doubled in size. So we went from 20 employees to 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 160. And we did that every single month for like a solid year and a half.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I might have to bring you on to talk about just that experience, because startups are insane, and Datto is a huge success story.
Yep.
So you've been in the MSP industry quite enough time to see, this evolution from just managed services into now providing cybersecurity services. And you've posed a question here that is, why is one layer of security not good enough? What does that mean, one layer of security, and then what is not good enough about it?
Yeah, so times are changing. People are adapting. If we were to rewind the clock 10 years ago, a lot of organizations were doing break-fix work. A lot of those break-fix shops became MSPs, and now we're seeing a new transition where a lot of MSPs are becoming an MSSP or some form of an MSSP. Maybe they have a SOC internally. Maybe they're leveraging a third-party SOC like Rocket Cyber or Blackpoint or some of the other folks that are out there which do amazing jobs. But the moral of the story is, whether you're adapting and rebranding as a full MSSP or just keeping the status quo as an MSP, you really have to have more than just one tool in your cybersecurity stack. It's not just about having EDR anymore. It's really about having a variety of tools to protect yourselves and your clients. So we're seeing things like email security, MFA, backup, security awareness training, all molded together into a cybersecurity package, really being the most effective way for MSPs to sell to their clients.
That makes a ton of sense. I've gotten in a ton of really great conversation over the last year on an MSP's job is to take what is, the two most complex words known to the industry, cyber and security, and demystify it. There's the whole, demystification. That's like a whole pop phrase that people use these days. But really, when I think about that, I think of a small business owner, right? Somebody running a coffee shop or a small little manufacturing company, or, to make it completely like anonymous, a widget factory that's making widgets and providing widget making services. I don't know. And it's like, well, what are those people experts in? Well, in that case, they are the experts at making that widget or providing services to others so others can go make that widget. It's like, did any of that involve cyber and security? No. It was whatever was convenient enough. Small businesses are hard enough to get off the ground as a result anyways, that if you had to stop and also be a cybersecurity expert, you would not have enough hours in the day. You'd need like one of Dr. Strange's the time stone or whatever it's called in order to, astral project at night and not have to go to sleep or something like that to learn.
Absolutely.
So it's it's just an interesting change that I've seen is basically your job as an MSP is take this super complex topic, understand that your client knows little about it because they can't afford to hire. They can't afford to take the time to be an expert like you, and they can't afford to learn how to deploy all these tools to manage an effective security program anyway. It's your job to do all three of those things for them in any combination that they would like. And actually, there's a fourth thing. It's convince them that they need those three things as well. It's largely a fourth job that you have, which makes all of that infinitely harder.
But that's where the money comes out, because the more widgets you sell to your clients, the more revenue you're going to get potentially, and the more secure, knock on wood, they should be.
That is true. What are some best practices MSPs can put to use when they're trying to craft these security programs, when they're trying to talk to their small business clients to create a little bit more security?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's important before the MSP educates their clients. It's important for the MSP to educate themselves first. So staying up to date on latest trends, whether that's attending trade shows, listening to podcasts, participating in some of the conversations within the MSP Discord groups or Facebook groups or Reddit pages, that's really, very, very important. Like we take what happened a couple weeks ago with the Screen Connect vulnerability through ConnectWise. Really the entire MSP community arose to that to really help out each other and make sure that everything was patched to ultimately protect the SMB market, whether it was your client or not. You saw so many vendors, so many other MSPs participating in best practices of how to remove the agent or patch the agent or ultimately prevent the exploit from being done.
I watched all of that happen in real time. It's actually like the third or fourth time since I've started Phin that I've watched the MSP and Discord channels get word of a breach, start working on how they can triage it and make sure it's not going to, screw them over. And then several hours to days later, it reaches, LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook. And it's like, oh, this is days old at this point. A lot of these people have already handled it. So it's interesting.
Yep.
You mentioned something in our previous episode. It was the when not if mentality. Can you explain that a little bit and why it's actually helpful to adopt?
Yeah, it's not a matter of if you're going to have a cybersecurity attack. It's really about when you're going to have a cybersecurity attack. It doesn't matter if you're a small business or a large organization. So many people are prone to getting attacks, and well over 50% of cybersecurity attacks are targeting small businesses today. So these are prime candidates for MSPs to go out and protect the clients before it's too late.
I don't know how easily it translates to small businesses, but something I've been seeing recently is like that this understanding of security and these breaches, right? The Screen Connect thing it's a very poignant reminder because it happened at this point, I think 3 weeks ago, is that news of breaches and how they occur have now reached Main Street America. It's like I have stolen this quote from somebody and I've said it so much that I don't even remember who it came from, but it's you're not too small to get hacked. You're too small to make the news. Yeah. And now I see that at Main Street America, everyone gets to see most of the hacks that occur because, and also my local Wawa here has been down several times because of network issues. And I've wanted to go inside every time and been like, are these issues with your internal systems, or is this like the result of some kind of, ransomware scam that, and I don't even know if the workers there would know, but it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Is there a certain amount of security you think a client should be willing to commit to?
Yeah. So as a bare minimum, during my days of data, we saw a lot of MSPs set like a bare minimum, like, hey, if you don't use a backup, you're not my customer. If you don't use an EDR, you're not my customer, period, end of discussion. So some of the tools that we would recommend that MSPs utilize are absolutely going to be backup. They're going to be EDR. They're going to be MFA, as well as a security awareness training. And if you have those four things, not only does your likelihood of an attack go down, it also gives, again, the MSP a little bit more stickiness because you're now selling not just one product, you're selling 4 products to the customer. And it opens the door for other add-on services, like if the client needs cyber insurance or cyber warranty, those conversations are much easier to have, and the client's much more likely to qualify for those programs if they have those appropriate security measures in place already.
What's your experience been so far in that? How do clients buy cybersecurity? I mean, you work with MSPs, so how are MSPs buying the cyber warranties from y'all?
Yeah. So what we're seeing being the most popular with MSPs is instead of selling the items individually a la carte, they're making a cybersecurity package. The gold package and the platinum package, right? So maybe the gold package is going to include your EDR, your MFA solution, your security awareness solution, and your backup, and the platinum package is going to include all of that with a SOC team, a SIM solution, a vulnerability testing, a cyber warranty, and other cybersecurity measures that you could put in place. So I would definitely recommend selling it as a package as opposed to selling individual line items one at a time, because that's where it opens up into awkward conversations where an end user might nickel and dime an MSP saying, well, you're quoting me, $5 for Sentinel-1 EDR, but I could go out and get Avast antivirus for $1. Like, it's the same thing, right? Antivirus is antivirus. So it just, less is more when you're trying to package it. So try not to do it individually through line items. Just bundle it all together. There was
a great analogy that a buddy of mine, Wes Spencer, came up with, where it's like, you don't necessarily want to be it's like the analogy is a tailor in suits. It's like what a tailor does is not make a custom suit for every single person. But what they do is they take this standard that most people fit into, right? That's the reason why, like, for instance, my suit coat jacket is 42 short. Oh, yeah, actually, you're getting married soon, so you probably know what yours is by now. So mine's 42 short, right? And if I'm going to the tailor to get that fitted to me, they don't take a blank canvas and say, all right, we're going to draw all these things. We're going to take these 1,000 memberships. They take like 3 or 4 memberships and they say, all right, this is it. And then they order it and then they tailor it to fit those specific dimensions, of which there's only 3 or 4. And then I get in the suit. I look great. It fits me perfectly because the template was there to begin with. That's the analogy that Wes always gave for. It's like, how should I sell security to my clients? It's like, well, if you had to come up with a whole brand new program every single time you sold a client, you'd have to spend so much time trying to come up with that. You'd have to spend so much time managing all the different ways you sell and manage security to your clients. And then you'd have to guarantee that you provided the same outcome, which is just a modicum of security. So it's like, that's an impossible situation. Be like the tailor. Have your big program and then talk through the client. It turns out you may not need this, right? You're a welding shop. You're not an accounting firm that needs all these special controls because you're handling sensitive payment information. You do welding and you do it really well. It's like, I think it's like the 3rd time I brought up welding as an example. By the way, maybe I just like watching welding TikToks or something. I don't know, but it's interesting. It sounds like you're saying the same thing. It's like, don't sell everything piecemeal. Sell largely the exact same thing. Customize it a tiny bit. Be that expert resource, and you're off to the races.
Yep. McDonald's makes most of their revenue through the Happy Meal.
Really?
Simple put.
Sounds like yeah. Well, I mean, I've been known to eat Happy Meals even as adults, but
yeah. I mean, I get it for the toy, right?
I used to, and then the toys got cheap, and I didn't like them anymore. So awesome. For folks who wanted to connect with you or Cork, learn a little bit more about the cyber insurance game, cyber warranty game that we talked about in the previous episodes, where would you suggest they go?
Yeah, so if they want to learn about Cork cyber warranty and how they could resell it to their clients, they can reach out to us at corkinc.com. So that's corkinc.com. Or they can reach out to me, Nick Wolf, on LinkedIn. I'm happy to accept your request.
Awesome. Nick, thanks so much for being here. Folks, if you're listening or watching, we will have links to that in the show notes. Feel free to connect with Nick, and we will see you on the next episode. Thanks, Nick.
All right. Thanks, Connor.
Bye. As always, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to Gone Phishing. If you want to find out more about high-quality security awareness training campaigns, how to launch them in ways that actually engage employees to change their habits, then check us out, Phin Security, at phinsec.io. That's phinsec.io, or click all of the wonderful links in our show notes. Thanks for fishing with me today, and we'll see you next time.